I did not plan on making a video about this subject, but here we go. We're going to be going over not only the things that you don't want to miss out before they go away as far as time-limited events and rewards. There's a special item out there. You may already know what I'm talking about that you definitely want to get your hands on in Brave Exvius. And I want to talk a little about Dark Visions, the new format, how much better it is. If you haven't seen it yet, I do like the new format for Dark Visions. Not only we're talking about the scoring system, we're not even talking about that. We're talking about the actual new format for it. We've been doing it on stream, and it's been very good. So let's go ahead and let's check out the first thing I want to talk about. There's going to obviously be some time-limited events, as always that there are, but make sure you do your Pandemonium exploration, and this is going to be on hard mode if you can get this done, especially if you're a newer player. Maybe get a very strong friend character to carry you through it. Do it if you can. This is because you get the Super Ribbon, which is a very powerful item in the game. Due to the abilities that it has on it, it gives you not only the ribbon effect, which nullifies paralysis, poison, stop, charm, or paralysis, poison, petrify, all of that good stuff, but it does also do stop and charm as well. So you have a way to immunize yourself against stop and charm. We haven't seen any sort of bosses that do like an imperil to stop and an imperil to charm and then strip your buffs off and then try to stop or charm you yet, but who's to say that we'll never see a boss like that in the future? And there may be a mechanic in the fight where you can utilize some sort of mechanic where you can get around his ability to stop and charm you through your stop and charm buffs. But if you have the Super Ribbon in your back pocket, not only is it very useful outside of those situations, it could be very useful in cheesing those situations. Throw this on your tank, give them a stop buff, and they're going to be good to go there. So this could be something that you could utilize in different situations in the future. You could also use it right now for your healers, etc. People who aren't immune to stop, who aren't immune to charm, and you want to go ahead and put that on them. So don't miss out on that. You just need to do the hard mode exploration there. And then the other one I want to talk about here, you can't see them, but there's a couple of different things where you can do with Ace as well as Rem. Very, very easy fight. You'll get some free stuff from that. I think there's some STMR tickets in there, as well as some of the Type 0 tickets that you can use on the normal summon banner. On top of that, though, there are some time-limited quests. Okay, this is going to be two different time-limited quests for you guys to get your hands on here. This is going to be the after the parameter quest, we have the World Revisit quest Part 6. Now, this is just your daily reminder, your weekly, monthly reminder. This is the only reminder you guys are going to get that you can finish the Part 6 up until the end of this month. This is July. This is going to go away as soon as August the 1st. So get in there if you can work your way up to where this is. I do believe this is Season 2, partway through Season 2. No, this is Season 1 still. What am I talking about? This is Season 1. No, this is Season 2. I don't know. I don't know where it is anymore, guys. It starts down at, I do believe this is the Barrier Station. No, it starts at, hold on. Where did it start? Eldor Tower. It starts at the Eldor Tower top floor. So go in there and do that. Now, the other one I want to talk about here is the Dark Bahamut special quests. This is to do with the Dark Bahamut Advent of Chaos Dark Visions that we have going on right now. You cannot do all of these quite yet because all of Dark Visions is not released, and this kind of is going to tie into the new format for Dark Visions, which I find much better than any of the other Dark Vision formats that we have had before. So this is going to give you 1,000 Lapis, nothing super crazy, but make sure you get your free 1,000 Lapis if you are doing Dark Visions, because Dark Visions give you rewards on top of that, but you get it for each of the different bosses that you fight. And as you can see, normally there's only like 3 big baddies that you fight in Dark Visions, which is not going to be the case this time. There's going to be a bunch of different ones in here. There's Dark Phoenix, Dark Kokryu. There's going to be, as well as Dark Anima, Dark Alexander, Throne of the Dark Dragon King, as well as Hell Flare of the Dark Dragon King on top of that. So make sure you go in there and do that. Now, with that being said, let's go take a look at Dark Visions. If you guys haven't seen this, this is much better than it has been before here. This is because normally there's 3 different areas, and each boss you have to swap in and out, different damage types: physical, magical, fire element, earth element, ice element, fire element, earth element, ice element, physical, magical, ice element, you know, over and over and over. But the way that it is this time, you can already see the first 2 zones. The first one is the magical domain of lightning and wind, and then the second one is the physical domain of ice and fire. So the 2 big and significant changes here is that typically there was 5 bosses in each zone. Now there's a mini boss and then the big boss of the zone. So you only have to do 2 fights pretty much per day as they unlock, and on top of that, they share the same sort of requirements that you need to take note of as far as offensive requirements. Both of these fights are magic damage fights, so you need to bring magic damage dealing characters to these fights, and both of these fights are the same element. So you can pick wind, you can pick lightning for either of these bosses, and you're doing magic damage for either of these bosses. So when you're going in here to gear up your team, the requirements are a lot lessened because you're not going every other boss, you know, fire dark magical damage into wind physical damage, back into, you know, some sort of earth magic damage, into dark physical damage, into something else. You don't have to gear up for 2 fights a day, and the same team can be pretty much the same for either fight. Obviously the different enemy types will be different for Dark Visions here, based on these different enemy types. I do believe like this guy was like a demon, and obviously Kokoryu was a dragon monster, and then they each do different types of damage on top of that. They're not always the same, but the same type of damage that you need to deal is the same. So this guy does water damage, and the other guy will do different kinds of damage on top of that. So the gearing requirements as far as getting in there and regearing and changing up the different kinds of parties that you're using over and over and over has been lessened. And then on top of that, they have the new ability for you. Oh, I went in. I didn't mean to go in. They have the ability for you to save and load your party slots. So once you gear up like your lightning magic damage dealing or your magic damage dealing team, or your wind magic damage dealing team, you can save that in there now, so you can use that in the future. So you can see the save load feature has been added here. You can even select multiple units if you want to swap multiple units out. That helps out a ton. There is still an initial gearing requirement, like you would gear up for a normal trial here. The mini boss is way easier than the actual boss of the zone. So like this Dark Manticore, way easier. A lot of players out there, especially big veteran players who've been playing a while, you can probably one-shot the mini boss, but the final boss of each of these mini zones is actually just as strong as what we've seen before, like when we had the Dark Siren boss and things of that nature. They have very, very tanky stats, and they're much harder to get maximum damage on in a single turn, and that's really where it comes in on you to decide what it is that you're going to do. And then so far, I haven't seen a preemptive attack, and that is greatly appreciated. The preemptive attack thing, that also was a huge gearing requirement. Now you don't have to really gear for different elemental preemptive attacks so far in this Dark Visions, which is a huge deal. I would love to see no more preemptive attacks, or make your whole team fire immune before the fight starts. It's really, really, really irritating for that to be a thing. It also locks out a lot of players. It just makes it more gear intensive, and it's just unnecessary. So that's a magical domain of lightning and wind, and the physical one works the same way. So we have a mini boss here. We have this big sandworm monster. As you can see, he's weak to physical, ice, and earth damage. So you might use a certain party for this, go in there, blow him up right away, and then kind of use the same sort of party, maybe swap it up a little bit different, but the same sort of idea for you to beat the big boss of the area is going to be there. You're still using physical damage, you're still using ice and earth damage. So that's going to help you guys be a little less frustrated. I know I was a little less frustrated. It still has that, like I said, that initial gearing requirement, which is still a little, you know, it's still a little gear swapping in and out, but you're not swapping for 5 fights every other fight if you want to go in there, and those unlock each day. So it makes it easier to keep up on as well, which is the big change, right? Because before you used to get 5 new fights every day for 3 days. Now you get 2 new fights every day for 5 days. So 10 total different fights here. All right, instead of, or maybe it's going to be 9 for the last zone, but 10 total different fights instead of 15, and it's less overwhelming because you're not getting 5 fights a day where you're like, oh, I'm going through this gearing process, and I you know what, I'm done. I've done the gear thing 2 times. I'm out. I'm done. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it, and that's kind of how I was. I think I skipped like the last part of the second Dark Visions, just because I was like, I'm waiting for them to add at least a save and load feature. But this is much better than before for all of the reasons stated in this video. And then obviously the rewards are still the same sort of thing here. So if you want to get in there, get some rare summon tickets, get the ULC ticket, and you can get the second ULC ticket, and you know, a lot of the rewards, the points that you get, are from beating those mini bosses and the big bosses, just getting the clear. You don't really need to maximize your stats really too much. You don't need to get maximum points to get those 2 UOCs. So, you know, if you can weather that storm, maybe this video will help you go back in there and actually complete this content, because it is kind of fun, especially if you're someone who likes to push yourself, but it was very monotonous gearing your character. I've said it for the 50th time and I'm gonna say it again. For 5 different fights, every other fight, every day. It was an awful, awful, awful thing, but it's been much cleaned up since then, and I do appreciate that. I want to see more Dark Visions if we get them like this one. I never want to go back to the old one. Make them like this because it's that much better. So thank you guys for coming and joining for this random video. 2 little things smushed together there, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more stuff like this, you know where the channel is. There's a button down there. It's got no one's name on it. I was gonna say it's got your name on it, but I guess it could have your name on it if you want to. But thank you guys so much for the support, especially via Patreon as well as YouTube channel memberships. Until then, guys, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.